The Great Resignation is turning into the Great Regret for some Americans. Here to cover it all with us is Andy Challenger, Challenger Gray, and Christmas. And first off, the new record in job openings with 5 million more job openings than unemployed Americans. Would you please break down those numbers for us?
Yeah, the labor market remains very volatile. We saw 4.4 million Americans quit their jobs last month. That's near a record high. We saw 11.3 million job openings, also near a record high. It's about 1.8 open jobs per unemployed person, which is making it very difficult for employers to hang on to their workers, particularly at the bottom end of the pay scale. There is a lot of switching back and forth between companies with wages ever increasing, but only to so much benefit to those workers. At some point, those increasing wages do turn into inflationary pressure, which ends up not in real terms helping employees very much.
What's going on with people quitting their jobs? What's the latest?
I'd say the main driver of people quitting their jobs is competing offers and rising wages at competing firms. That is primarily driven by the fact that we're still missing, as a country, a big chunk of the labor force. Millions of Americans that left in March of 2020 and have yet to return to work, whether they decided to retire early, they've cut back on hours, they decided to rearrange their family situation with one parent staying home full time in the wake of COVID. Whatever the reason, it does mean that competition is fierce, particularly at the lower end of the wage spectrum.
Well, people talk about the Great Resignation, but very few people are talking about the Great Regret, where some people are leaving jobs for better pay. Should you just jump to a new job for greater pay?
Look, inflation, the real cost of rising goods, is putting extra pressure on employees to move from one company to another, even for small wage increases, to help combat that extra pressure. That is creating a lot of instability. It makes people leave companies that they like and coworkers that they have relationships with for new positions that will pay them slightly more. And that doesn't always work out. We see a lot of people moving from one company to another back to their original company in this environment. That makes it very difficult for companies to plan. It makes it very difficult for employees to feel job satisfaction. And if there is a tightening of interest rates to combat inflation that causes a recession, it puts employees at a disadvantage if the company follows a last in, first out rule.
What are other reasons that people have for feeling regret after quitting?
Yeah, a new Harris poll showed that over the last 2 years, 1 in 5 workers that quit their jobs actually regretted it. And only 26% of workers said they liked their new job enough to stay. That shows that wage increases as extra benefits isn't the only thing that makes people happy at the end of the day. There's other factors like the culture of the company, the connection you have with your coworkers that become friends. And so for many workers, they're coming to the realization that the types of jobs, the company culture are just as important as pay.
Well, thank you, Andy. Always good to have you here.
Thanks for having me on, Angie.
Go to businessfirstam.com for where to see our show on TV.